Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan. Once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. Today we will talk about the last planet in the maturity series. We have spoken about maturity of planets right from Jupiter until Rahu, and we have talked about how the various situations in which the maturity of the planets impact our lives, what is the deeper manifestation of the maturity of different planets, what is the deeper meaning, what is the foundation of the energies on which the planet's maturity comes about, what are the changes that one is expected to do on the cusp of the maturity, and how the planet will give its results if you are not living up to the expectations of the maturity, if you are not living up to the expectation that the planetary energies expect from the individual in terms of how his lifestyle changes, his perspective on life changes, his perspective to service changes, his perspective to humanity, humanity and serving the supreme energy itself manifests. So, basis how we live our lives until the year of maturity of a specific planet, the planet gives us various challenges but also opportunities, and at every step the planet is hinting us towards, pushing us towards, egging us on towards what the maturity of the planet means, what the higher manifestation of the planetary energies means. If we live up to those expectations, then the planet starts to give better results, while keeping an eye on what your purpose of life is, specifically connected to that planetary energy. Same is the case of Ketu. Ketu is set in the various shlokas in the astrological text to mature in the 48th year, which means once your 47th birthday is celebrated, your 47th year is completed, you step into your 48th year. So there is a deeper connection of Ketu, not only to the maturity of Ketu from a spiritual perspective, but also the overall manifestation of moksha itself, salvation itself. So why, if you look at the number 48, at the year at which Ketu matures, if you add up the digits 4 and 8, you get the number 12. 12 is the last sign of the zodiac, and 12 is also the 12th house of the zodiac, or the 12th house of the horoscope. So there itself is a deeper connection connecting Ketu directly to salvation or moksha, because the 12th house is not only a house of spirituality, but 12th house is also the third moksha bhava. So it is critical for us to understand the deeper meaning of Ketu's maturity, connecting us to spirituality, connecting us to the 12th house. Now, what does the 12th house mean? The 12th house also means separation, isolation, going away, losses, and excesses given off from our lives. That means we are expected to live with bare minimum and be able to survive, and survive well, with expecting least from the zodiac, least from Srishti, least from creation, which is a very, very minimalistic approach to life, minimalistic approach to expectations, minimalistic approach to materialism itself. And hence Ketu's strong connection to the 12th house, which is the house which will move you on to the next realm. And because it is about isolation, so Ketu expects you to be isolated, detached, giving up many of those manifestations which Ketu represents in your horoscope. Firstly, we know that Ketu is a planet of negation. Ketu is separating us from any results or any manifestation of the house where Ketu is placed in, the sign that Ketu is placed in, or the planet that Ketu is placed with. So Ketu is negating energy. Ketu is asking us to give up those results, give up materialism connected to that planet, to that sign, and to that house. One of the reasons is also because Ketu represents giving up. Ketu is the dhwaja, which means you have already planted the flag in that area in an earlier time, in a past. So Ketu expects us to move on, says, okay, the results of these house, the results of the sign, the results of the planet which is in conjunction with Ketu is not for you for this time, for this period, for this life, which means you need to separate yourself from expectations from that area and then to give more to others. Live for humanity, live for others, live to serve others on the same areas. So whichever house Ketu is placed in, the manifestations of that house, the results of that house are not for you. So if you're expecting Ketu to give you mature results, you should have already by that time, by a 48th year, should have completed the maturity of understanding and giving up, isolating yourself, detaching yourself not only from the materialism of that house, but also in your mind have already made peace, not getting what Ketu will not give you in that house, what Ketu is negating to you in that house. Many people who have not been able to make peace that you will not get those results are not for you for this life, you have already been there, done that, and are still struggling, then Ketu makes you or forces you to struggle more, because you have still not reached the realm. You have probably reached the steps, but you have not started to climb those steps. Ketu expects you to be able to go the journey towards giving up, towards manifestation and being at peace with giving up, and starting to climb the steps means starting to do for others. And so by a 48th year, if wherever Ketu is placed, wherever Ketu, whichever sign it is, you have already started to make peace with what Ketu is negating, not giving you, and started to do for others, expecting nothing in return, that is the start of your maturity. And when you are purely happy in your heart, you are satisfied in your heart, in spite of not getting a certain result, and you are completely connected to the spiritual real, to the spiritual supreme being, and you are happy in that ecstasy of being with the supreme energy, that's when Ketu gives you actual mature results. So if Ketu, for example, is in the 5th house in your horoscope, then there will be challenges of materialism connected to, or expectation connected to, say for example, from children, or gains, or even your career, because the 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So growth, easy growth, sudden move forward, Ketu many times negates. Ketu also negates you getting very high successes in speculative investments being placed in the 5th house, and also in finances and money. So one has to be careful. If one is still pushing for and expecting more out of children, then your relations with children will go under a downfall, or stagnate, or even start to crumble. So if you have children, you have raised them as good citizens, but you expect very least from them, and you bless them and you want them to be good citizens, that means you have contributed, or you have given of your children to society to be able to do their job, to do their service to society, and you're still blissful. Wherever my children are, they should be happy, they should be doing well, they should be good citizens, they should leave a good example, and they should not be a blot on my name, my family name, or on the couple whose children they are. They should serve humanity and they should serve the supreme energy. So when you have this tendency of isolating yourself, detaching yourself from the expectations from a certain house, from the sign where Ketu is placed, that's what the true maturity of Ketu is, or begins, and starts to do more and more for you as you get more and more blissful and at peace with not getting those results. Ketu, if you remember, the image of Ketu is of a headless deity and has a sharp object in his hand, which means Ketu with a sharp object is showing that I'm going to detach you. Whatever you seem to be attached to, I will detach. So if you are attached to something very, very strongly, especially when Ketu is establishing a relationship with that, Ketu will detach you from those manifestations regularly or at various steps in life, and will again and again hint you that this is not for you, this is what you have to do for others, keep it up for others. If Ketu is in the 4th house, then trying to accumulate huge amount of property for yourself, material assets and not being ready to share with the poor, with the downtrodden, with the unlucky, will eventually create challenges with you in your domestic affairs also. Because if you're too attached to assets, then Ketu will detach you from the family, domestic life, peace and happiness. And hence, many times with people having Ketu in the 4th house, will find that they have some or the other problem related to assets and with family. If they are too focused towards assets, some or the other relationship of theirs, or the peace at home, or the loving environment at home, or the blissful environment at home will be affected. So if you are not ready to understand these lessons, what Ketu is representing, what Ketu is approaching you with, then definitely there is a challenge, there is a misrepresentation or misunderstanding of what Ketu represents in your life, and Ketu will take its pound of flesh. Ketu will tend to charge you for it. When you show least fear, least frustration, least anxiety, least anger of any area in life, especially when Ketu is getting connected to it by virtue of placement or aspect or conjunction, that's where you start to move towards maturity. Now, if you remember, Ketu has only 2 aspects. Wherever Ketu is placed, it has the 5th aspect and the 9th aspect, similar to Rahu. Which means, if Ketu is placed in a certain type of house, then it also aspects the similar houses. If Ketu is placed in a Dharma Bhava, then its other 2 aspects, the 5th aspect and the 9th aspect, is on the other 2 Dharma Bhavas. Whichever sign Ketu is placed in, the similar type of sign Ketu aspects. If Ketu is placed in one fire sign, then Ketu with its 5th aspect is aspecting another fire sign, and with its 9th aspect is aspecting the 3rd fire sign. Which means it's very, very clear. Ketu's focus is very, very clear. A certain type of bhava, dharma, artha, kama or moksha it is placed in, aspects similar kinds of houses or the same houses. If it's placed in a certain sign, similar signs and aspects, which means those areas of life, in your life, those areas you have to give off more, serve others more, and only through that you move up the spiritual realm. And that's when Ketu starts giving you good results. If you are not too concerned about money, you're ready to give up money, you don't feel too anxious about money, not getting money, losing money, then Ketu tends to reward you for your maturity, and that's what the mature results of Ketu are. The mature results of a planet is the planet starts giving you more about the area of that house, because it sees you to be more mature with that results. It is like this: if you are not mature enough to understand what driving a car means, then the Lord does not allow you to get a license till then. And so legally in various countries, 18 years is the age of maturity to try for a legal license. Till then you are not even expected to show even the minimum degree of maturity to understand what the responsibility of driving a car means. And only after that, 18 onwards, are you even given a chance to learn and then get a license, and then eventually after passing the test you are given the chance or the legal right to drive on the roads, which is not your right, but it is a privilege given to you by the country, by the law, by the constitution. Similarly, maturity of the planet also means till a certain age you have to showcase the maturity that you have prepared, and in that you have understood the responsibility, just like responsibility that you have understood when you have reached 18 years. What is the responsibility of you as an individual? So every planet placed in your horoscope is giving you some sign, some indication what the maturity connected to the planet means in your horoscope, in your life, and how do you manifest it. Out of these, Ketu matures last, because Ketu can be the most damaging if you are not being up to the task what Ketu's maturity means. Ketu has that sharp knife in its hand, the sharp weapon in its hand. It will separate you completely, ruthlessly, completely, mercilessly if you have not learned the lesson. And hence, Ketu dashas, Ketu antar dashas can be extremely damaging. People sometimes lose the entire life savings, entire gains, sometimes all their relations, sometimes complete health, sometimes everything all together. If Ketu sees that you have not lived up to the task of detaching yourself, having a minimalistic approach, serving humanity, serving the supreme energy. So the deepest meaning of Ketu's maturity is about how much have you understood your responsibility as a human being, as a fellow human being, and how much you have understood your responsibility of sharing or giving to others, living for others, doing for others, and in doing for others, doing for to the supreme energy. So in a summation, Ketu's maturity is about how much have you understood that your life is a life of dedication to the supreme energy itself, and it just manifestation is just in some way or the other serving others. We can't serve everybody in every way, in every walk of life. So a certain area for you is given to you, so that in other areas you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, you can enjoy the happiness. But in certain areas it is not for you, it is for you to serve others. However, if overall life has been dedicated to serving others, doing for others, seeking happiness in happiness of others and serving others, then that's what Ketu's true maturity means. And it starts with, the starting point is the house where Ketu is placed in, the sign where Ketu is placed in, and the planets that Ketu is placed with. If you have passed the test of Ketu's manifestation, what Ketu expects from you till your 48th year, and you have been able to contribute, then Ketu starts to give you very good results from the 48th year onwards. These may not be material results. Ketu gives you those areas and manifests in those areas which are more important for you, for your moksha, for your salvation, for forgiveness, to give off your karmic debt. So if you expect from 48th year onward that all material things will come for me, all material success will come for me, all true happiness materially will come for me, because Ketu has matured, then we are wrong. Ketu's manifestation after the 48th year, if it's truly mature, is when you have realized that true happiness does not come from material things. It comes from how at a spiritual realm you may be able to connect it to the supreme energy. So if you have lost most of your desires or all of your desires, which is very difficult, and you have this huge desire to be connected to the Supreme Lord, to serving others, and you have started to live more for others. It could be starting with your family. You're living for your children, you're living for your spouse, you're living for your extended family, but you're also living for the general society, which means you put others before you. That's the first step towards Ketu's maturity. And if you have no desires, no wish in whatsoever realm, whatsoever form, and you're completely dedicating your life to the service of others, to help others, not thinking so much materialistically, not thinking so much about the high quality of life, the car, the assets and all, that's when Ketu starts to give you the true results from a moksha perspective. And hence many people feel that after 48th year I should get very good material successes. It may not be the case. Ketu will give you those successes after your 48th year which are required for you. So if you have given off a lot of karmic debt till your 48th year, but Ketu still feels something needs to be given off further, then from your 48th year onward, you will start to see those results manifesting. If Ketu wants to give up children from your life and be dedicated to serving others, or be happy even when the children are not around, then you will find that children have become very detached from you from your 48th year onwards, and in fact more and more from then on. If assets is something which you need to give up the karmic debt, because you have been there, done that, and you are carrying a karmic debt in terms of assets, in terms of material things that you have collected, then you will find that you are not so attached to material things. You don't want that car, you don't want that TV, you don't want that watch, you don't want that house. You will feel a deep down internal detachment from things. You may find a detachment from sex, you may find a detachment from intimacy, you may even find a detachment from your spouse. And you will be connected more and more to the community, to society at large. So Ketu's maturity doesn't mean giving up everything and becoming a sage. That's not what it means. It means understand which areas to manifest, which areas to give off completely, which areas to continue to work for. But the biggest lesson of Ketu's maturity is to live for others, serve others, and in serving others, be able to serve the Supreme Lord. And that is what Ketu's maturity means, and that is what Ketu's maturity's manifestation means. Please live up to it and get the bliss of the Supreme Lord and the salvation itself. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. And please also, for those who are interested in the Hindi channel and wanting to learn more Hindi, I have another channel called the Aapka Rashifal. Do visit that. The link is there in the description box below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.